My beloved child, pause for a moment and listen, not with ears already weary from the noise of the world, but with your heart, the part of you that still beats, even when broken, the part that still searches for something, even if it cannot name it yet. I know you didn't stumble upon these words by accident. There is no such thing as coincidence in my hands. If today you feel lost, if doubts are swirling inside you, if you're trying to appear strong while you're quietly falling apart within, then this is my message to you. Not a message to demand anything from you, not to fix you, pressure you, or change you right away, but to hold you, to tell you, I see you, I understand you, and I still choose you, even now, even if you're in the darkest place of your soul, even if your faith feels as fragile as a single breath, even if you no longer know how to pray, I am still here, with a whisper so gentle, yet powerful enough to warm an entire heart that has gone cold. My child, don't rush off just yet. Let me tell you something. My beloved child, I see that you are exhausted, not just weary in the body, but weary in the soul. You've held on longer than anyone realizes. You've endured more than you've ever spoken aloud. And now, even the thought of continuing feels like a burden. I hear the sigh you try to hide. I see your eyes staring blankly into the distance, wondering, is it still worth it? I know you don't want to give up, but you also don't know how to keep going. My child, if your strength is gone, then lean on me, not by trying harder, but by letting go. Let go of the fear of not being enough. Let go of the pressure to be strong all the time. Let go of the belief that being tired means you're weak. I'm not disappointed in your weariness. I'm moved because you're still here, because you haven't walked away, even when everything in you wants to let go. Beloved, fatigue does not mean failure. Sometimes it's the clearest sign that you've been fighting silently for too long. And now, it's time to let me fight for you. Can you take a breath? Can you cry without holding it in? Can you allow yourself to rest without guilt? Because I never wanted you to survive. By straining, I want you to learn to live under my protection. I do not measure you by your performance. I measure you by your presence. You stayed, you kept going, you held on to faith, even if only by a thread, and that is enough to move heaven. You think you're weak, but in my eyes, this is when you are strongest, because you chose not to turn away, even when you had nothing left in your hands. My child, let me heal you, not by making everything instantly easy, but by gently filling your soul drop by drop, like steady rain falling on the cracked ground, like the first faint light after a long frozen night. Healing does not always thunder. Sometimes it comes in the quiet comfort of grace. You don't need to climb to find me. I am coming down to carry you, because you cannot keep going on your own strength, and I never intended for you to carry this alone. Can you lay it down now? I am here. I am steady. I am unshaken, and I still choose you, even when you're trembling. Exhaustion is not the end. Sometimes it's the bell that rings in a new season. A season of being carried, not just surviving on your own. You don't have to be perfect to receive help. Just be honest, Father. I'm so tired, and I will come, not late, not delayed. I come right on time, the moment you release your honest sigh. My child, if you feel empty, don't be afraid. That emptiness is the space I will fill. It's not the end. It's preparation for something new. You thought you were collapsing, but really you were laying yourself down in my hands. And that place will be the beginning of restoration, not restoration to keep fighting harder, but to live again, lighter, deeper, fuller. My beloved child, I know you still wonder, am I enough? Enough to overcome, enough to handle it all, good enough to be chosen, worthy enough to be loved. I see the silent questions in your heart. I see how you compare yourself to others, then shrink back as if you've lost before you even began. I see how you sincerely praise others, but forget that you, too, carry light. My child, you are not a rough draft to be corrected. You are a masterpiece unfolding. You are not too late, not too small, not forgotten. You're simply in the middle of a process I've designed uniquely for you. You can't see clearly because the picture is still in progress. But I, the artist, already know what the finished work looks like. You are not a product of mistakes. You are living proof of my mercy and power. You don't need standout talents to be chosen. You don't need a flawless record to be used. You don't need high degrees or a spotless past to be trusted. I don't need you to be impressive like others. I just need you to obey and believe that I can do mighty things through a humble heart. You wonder, am I enough? The answer is, you've never lacked anything I cannot restore. You don't need to have all the answers. I am the answer. You don't need to go ahead to prove yourself. I will go before you, making paths straight, tearing down barriers, silencing schemes. You don't need to hide your weakness, for it is in your weakness that my grace becomes strongest. Don't let what you haven't achieved dim the presence of the one already working within you. You are not too little in my eyes. You are one who carries the weight of heaven in your spirit. The world measures you by numbers, fame, and recognition, but I measure you by your faithfulness, your love, and your willingness to take a step. Even with trembling legs, you look in the mirror and see what's unfinished, but I see a sacred work being completed. And you know what? Even when you doubt yourself, I've never stopped believing in you. I don't change my mind about you just because you're tired. I don't take back my promises just because you stepped back. I don't turn away just because you had a bad day. On the contrary, it's in your weakest moments that I draw closest. It's in your most doubtful hours that I speak the clearest, because I didn't choose you for your strength. I chose you to give you strength. My child, there are things I've placed inside you that the world cannot measure and hell cannot touch. That quiet perseverance you think is small, it shakes heaven. That gentleness you once saw as weakness, it melts hearts. That unseen faithfulness, it's the foundation I'm using to build something great. You don't have to shine to prove your worth. You were already sealed by me before you ever did a thing. Don't doubt the truth just because your emotions shift. Feelings rise and fall. Faith wavers. The mind grows weary. All of that is real, but my word does not change. My love does not retreat. My calling does not fade. You are not a product of comparison. You are my original creation, and I haven't made a single mistake in you, my child. Don't measure your worth by what is seen. Measure it by what the ordinary eye can't perceive. Because in this world, the most valuable things are often the quietest. Like roots, unseen, yet holding the whole forest together. Like love, real, even when not declared aloud. You too, my child. There are parts of you that seem small, but in my kingdom, they are powerful enough to awaken a generation. I'm not waiting for a better version of you. I'm calling you, just as you are. No need to hide, no need to be perfect. Just stay and believe. You have never wandered outside of my plan. My beloved child, I know you once believed. You believed in the promise. You believed in a dream that once burned bright in your heart. You believed something good was coming and believed in the change you prayed for. But you also know that there were days your prayers fell into silence, seasons when you waited and waited, but saw nothing shift, and little by little, your faith began to fall away. My child, I do not blame you for doubting. I just want to hold you close and tell you, I understand why you stopped hoping. I understand why you started questioning the very things you once felt so sure of. I understand why each time someone says just have faith, your heart goes silent, unable to respond. You are not faithless. You are simply heart wounded on the journey of believing. You once believed, but you've also been disappointed. You once put your hope in someone and were left behind. You once placed your trust in something and watched it fall apart. You once thought, this is it, only to see it slip through your fingers again. And so, you stopped believing, not because you didn't want to, but because you were afraid to hurt again, afraid to hope and lose, afraid to open your heart, only to close it once more. My beloved, if your faith has broken, I do not love you any less. I don't require you to believe a lot. I only ask that you dare to come forward, even if just one small step, with an honest heart, even a sigh like, Father, I don't know if I can still believe. To me, that's enough to begin. Again, you think you must see something clearly to believe again, but real faith begins in the dark, where there is nothing to cling to but the promise, where there's no roadmap but my voice calling. I'm still calling you, not with thunder, but with a whisper deep in your soul. Can you hear it? A calling soft as a breeze. My child, come home, not to perfect faith, but to me. I don't need you to believe in grand ways. I only need you to believe enough to stay. Enough to not walk away. Enough to quietly whisper, if you're still there, please come close. And I will come, right where you are, even if that place is full of doubts, weariness, or confusion. My child, I am still writing the story. Even when you can't read the next chapter. Even when you think the book is closed, I am still writing, with ink unseen by the eye, but felt deeply by the heart. If you would only be still, you thought faith was a walk filled with light, but truly, it's a walk through the mist, with the trust that I'm still holding your hand. Faith doesn't always shout, I believe. Sometimes, it just whispers, I'm still here. Even tired, even tangled, even unsure, you stayed, and I see that, and I call that beautiful. My beloved child, I know you haven't said it aloud, but there are moments when you feel left behind in the race of life, left behind among those who seem to know exactly where they're going, left behind in conversations where you don't feel you belong, and worst of all, left behind in prayers that have never been answered. You're not envious. You just quietly wonder, what about me, Father? You feel like you're not enough, not strong enough to stand, not good enough to be chosen, not worthy enough to be kept, not important enough for someone to come back and find you. And slowly, you start to believe you're just a second choice, a forgotten name on the list of grace, an outsider to the celebration, smiling from a distance with a forced grin. But my child, I don't see you the way you see yourself. You see lack. I see potential. You see failure. I see someone still rising. You see yourself as lost. I see a soul set apart. You see slowness. I see steady, faithful steps that don't give up. You think you're unnecessary, but I called you before any light ever touched your frame. You are not a random choice, not a backup plan, not someone I accepted because no one else remained. You are the one I intentionally chose, the one I called by name from among millions of souls, the one I placed a role into, one that no one else can fulfill. You are not left behind. You are being held back, to be taught more deeply, to be loved more fully, to carry something different. You were never meant to blend in. I didn't design you to merely fit in. I created you to be transformed, not to be impressive, but to become exactly what I made you to be. Those who went ahead of you are not greater than you. They're simply walking a different path. If flowers all bloomed on the same schedule, spring would lose its wonder. And you, too, are being nurtured in silence, not forgotten, but rooted deeply beneath the surface. You don't need to achieve greatness to be loved. I don't demand accomplishments. I seek your presence. I don't wait for perfection. I long for honesty. Just come, with wounds still healing, with questions still unanswered, with a trembling heart that still dares to draw near to me. That alone is a miracle. My child, do not measure yourself by the milestones of others. They may shine sooner, but you will grow deeper, last longer, and shine exactly at the time I have appointed. I am not in a hurry, because I am writing a masterpiece, and masterpieces are never born in haste. You are not someone who's fallen behind. You are someone who's been set apart to be healed, set apart to be prepared, set apart so that you wouldn't lose yourself chasing what only seems like glory. My beloved child, I see you standing at a foggy crossroads. One path offers safety, yet your heart feels empty. Another promises passion, but fear crowds every step. On the road, straight ahead, reveals nothing but mist. You're asking yourself, how do I know if I'm on the right path? How do I choose without losing myself? How do I move forward without being disappointed again? My child, let me remind you, uncertainty is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. So often when nothing is clear, that's when you're invited to listen more deeply, not with your ears, but with your heart, not to the noise of the world, but to the whisper of the spirit within you. You don't need to know the whole road. You only need to take my hand and walk. I'm not calling you to walk alone. I'm not asking you to handle decisions too heavy for your tired shoulders. I go with you, step by step, even when your steps don't look like anyone else's. Afraid of choosing wrong? I can rebuild everything. I can redirect from any turn. I am not confined to the map you've drawn. I'm the one who rewrites every map. You think if you choose wrong, you'll lose everything. No, you are not defined by your decisions. You are rescued by my guidance. Even if you wander, I remain the light ahead. Even if you pause, I remain the warmth within your heart. Even if you can't hear clearly, I still speak. Not through your ears, but through your soul. You're at a crossroads. Good, because it's at the crossroads where faith grows. It's where you learn to release control and let me guide you with peace, not with logic, spreadsheets, or pros and cons lists, but with something deeper, a quiet, gentle peace, not loud, not forceful, not confusing. Pay attention to what expands your heart and what makes it shrink. Peace is the signal. Soft light is the sign. Faith doesn't have to be big, just enough for one small step. And if you don't know where to go, stand still. With me, sometimes stillness is not stagnation, but worship. It's how you say, Father, I don't know anything, but I trust you know everything. You're not late. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're being led in a way you've never experienced before. And when the time comes, you will know, not because everything is clear, but because fear is no longer in your heart. My beloved, I have never left the crossroads where you now stand. I'm here, with eyes that do not rush, with arms wide enough, with a heart that never stops waiting. And when you're ready, I won't just lead you, I will walk with you, not a step apart. This is not the end of the message. The end is simply the beginning of a new way to live. To live not to prove, but to be present. To live not by fear, but by small, steady faith. To live not by sight, but by trust that I am still writing, and you are still a beautiful part of the story. So,